Shabbat Shalom, Temple Emmanuel. This week's Parsha is called Pinchas, and there are only a handful of Torah portions named after people, and particularly people who are extreme or challenging. It's actually the only one. We deal with Pinchas this week, and Pinchas is the son of Eleazar, the grandson of Aaron, the high priest. Aaron has died, Eleazar is taken over as high priest, and there is a plague in the land. They have settled in a place called Shittim, and the Israelites are engaging in idolatrous behavior, worshiping Baal, the pagan god, and having relationships with the Moabite women. And God is incensed and says and requires Moses to slay the leaders of the Israelites who are allowing this to happen, because ultimately the buck stops with the leadership when things don't go well. And instead, the translation from Moses to the people is that anybody who is engaging in idolatry should be killed. In the midst of all of this, out comes an Israelite who walks into the center of the town, in the village that they were staying in, with a Moabite woman. And Pinchas, the grandson of Aaron, takes the law into his own hands and follows them and takes a spear and puts the spear through the belly of both the Israelite and the Moabite woman, killing them both. Zimri and Caspi. Zimri means a songbird, and Caspi being the one who might be a cheater, a liar. And the challenge that we see, which is, can killing in the name of God be justified? And it seems that Pinchas is rewarded, that the priesthood will continue through his family, and that he'll be rewarded an eternal pact, as the Torah teaches us, a Briti Shalom, a covenant of peace. But when we look into the text and we look at the commentaries, this religious zealotry is not rewarded. In fact, it is frowned upon. The language of the Torah, as we look and we see, this is actually a picture from our own Torah in our sanctuary. And as we read the beginning of Pinchas, it says, Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, God says to Moses, saying, Pinchas ben Eleazar ben Aaron Aharon HaKohen. Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the Kohen, the priest. But the word Pinchas, if you look carefully, and on Saturday morning, if you join us for Torah study, you'll be able to see this more in detail. The Yud in Pinchas is much smaller than the rest of the letters, because we can see that Yuds, like this one in the God's name, the word Adonai, are bigger. So why, therefore, is the Yud smaller? The commentaries teach us that killing in God's name, in doing what's wrong, lessens God's presence in our world, and the letter Yud is the first letter of God's name. But it continues, the covenant of peace that God offers Pinchas, as we see here, Briti, Shalom. And if we look at the word Shalom very carefully, the third letter, Yud He Vav He, of God's name, the Vav, is broken in the word Shalom. And when there is not peace in the world is broken. The world is fractured. And the sense of how do we restore peace in our world? It's faith, it's hope, it's believing. It's knowing that we can come together. When we don't espouse bigotry and hatred, when we're as inclusive as we possibly can be. In fact, yesterday we got word from Israel that the mikvaot, the mikvah law in Israel, was passed by the Knesset, banning Reform and conservative Jews from using public mikvaot. In fact, one member of Knesset comes out and says, Reform Jews don't even have mikvaot in the United States. And in fact, we actually have many Reform mikvaot in the United States of America. bigotry and hatred and discrimination of the other because we don't know them, because we don't take the time to know them, is a disgrace, is a shanda. This Tuesday morning, this past Tuesday, I was at the Cherry Hill Police Department as we swore in 12 new police officers. And Chief Bud Monahan, as he was speaking to these new officers, he said, we didn't hire police officers. We hired human beings. And that's ultimately what we are. We are all human beings, all part of the human race. And coming together helps to repair that brokenness in shalom, in peace, that we all need. We hope and we pray that we continue to find that peace in our world, and most importantly, that peace in our own hearts, in our own souls. And you can begin by doing that this Shabbat, 7:30 p.m., as we join together in song, in prayer, and ultimately in a Kehillah Kadosha, a holy community, praising God for each day that we have together. So come and join us 7:30 Friday night, followed by Torah study Saturday morning 9:15. Shabbat Pinchas. Come, let us dispel the darkness with the light of Judaism and the light of our souls within. Shabbat Shalom, Temple Emmanuel. Shabbat Shalom.